good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to episode 55 of Fundraising BIDness Talk. My name is Patrick Siver. I'm your host and owner at G Events LLC based in Beaverton, Oregon. And so happy to be with you today. And it's better than being outside because Beaverton, it is not very pleasant. It is raining and it's a little chilly for most people in the United States. And it's not quite spring here, evidently. So anyhow, glad you could join us. We get together every Wednesday at noon to talk about current events and what's going on in the fundraising, auction, and golf tournament business. And I want to ask you, as you tune in, please say hi. Tell us where you're coming from in the comments and chat. Just say hi. We'd love to say hello back. And also encourage you, if there's any time throughout the program you have a question, it hits you, whether it's about the topic I'm talking about right now or just something in general about the fundraising, auction, and golf tournament world, feel free to just type it into the chat box and I will be able to see that. And I will try to address your questions before we wrap up today. So let's dive in. What was on my mind today as I was thinking, we're then about, about 45 days of wrapping up the spring fundraising auction season here in Oregon and the Pacific Northwest, and probably in most parts of the country. They're really on the tail end because the fundraising auction season tends to follow the school year, and many places get out of school in mid-May. We don't get out of school until mid-June, so our fundraising auction season stretches a little bit longer than others. But one of the things that not only are we wrapping up the events for this spring, but we're also starting to think about the events in the fall. And one of the things that I'm always sensitive to is how people are promoting their event or making preparations for their events in the fall. And one of the things that I've noticed since COVID started, and I have really kind of dove into the world of auction software that I wasn't, I was aware, but really didn't think about much before, was that most of the auction software programs are sold on an annual subscription basis. And that's fantastic because you can do multiple events within the same subscription. You can also have all your records stored in one place. There's a lot of reasons that makes sense. One of the things that I realized when I started diving into the software is a lot more diligently once we hit COVID and we moved to the virtual environment for quite a while, was that I recognized that many of our clients were not maximizing the use of their software. And I thought that was, there was some opportunity there to help them throughout the year. And there was features and there was that they were not taking advantage of. There was all sorts of different elements. And so one of the things that stuck out to me the most was the website capabilities of most of the auction software programs. And some are better than others. And usually I would determine better by being flexible, right? How easy is it for the client to manipulate the auction website or the software's website to really fit their needs? And so one of the things that I started recognizing was, as I get contacted by organizations, hey, we're looking for an auctioneer, we need some help with our fundraising, whatever it is, one of the first things I do is I try to go back and look at past years on their websites, whatever I can find, just to kind of get a sense of what they were doing and what they were, and many times I couldn't necessarily find their auction software website because it had been disarmed or it had been taken down, which is fine, not a problem. But then I started thinking about what kind of presence did they have for their event on a year-round basis. And what I'm looking for there is, are they soliciting donors throughout the year? Are they soliciting auction packages throughout the year? Are they soliciting sponsorships throughout the year? And I started thinking about it and I started saying, well, if they kept their auction website up and visible and it had customizable features, that those would be some opportunities that they could increase their revenues, that they could provide a better experience for their supporters, more exposure for their sponsors, all sorts of different things. So, what I wanted to do today was talk a little bit about how I see using your auction software and especially the website component on a year-round basis. And for our examples today, I'm going to use a couple of clients that I think do a pretty good job on this in this area, and they both happen to be using Octria is their auction platform. I'm a huge fan of Octria.com. Octria to me is the most flexible and user controllable auction software out there that I can find. It doesn't try to put you inside of a box and only allow you to do things a certain one way. Really, Rob and the team at Octria have done a great job in building a very flexible software that is just incredibly powerful. And so, with that being said, I encourage you, look at it. I also find it's the most value driven platform, from a price standpoint. And I can't say enough positive things about it. But with that being said, I wanted to talk a little bit about, how would I use the auction website, the website that comes with the software on a year-round basis to do a couple of things. And I'm going to share my screen a little bit today, and let's take a look. This is a group that we do their event. We've done it. What have we done? This will be the third year that we've done their event. And the first year they brought us on was the first year of COVID, and we took them virtual. They were going to cancel. And they've had such success with the virtual that they've chosen to remain virtual, even though they could go in person now in Oregon. This event's not until the last week of October into the first week of November, but they've chosen to remain virtual because there's less risk. They've had incredible success with this, and they don't have a big volunteer base. So for all those reasons, really not our subject today. We can talk about that at another time. But I wanted to give you an example. And what I love about it is their auction website is already up, and it's already going. And the event is not the actual signature event of this particular fundraiser is on November 3rd. So what are we, 6 months out? 7 months out, and they're already out there soliciting and having their auction website work for them. So let's talk a little bit about that. First and foremost, I think it's important to kind of give the general info about the event coming up. And so right here at the top, you can see in theirs, they've got exactly what's going on, how they're going to, the auction week will be October 27th through November 3rd. You've heard me talk before, folks, about I'm really sensitive in these events moving forward that we don't just promote the signature event, whether that signature event is a social event or it's a virtual event or a combination of, if it's a live streamed event with an in-person component. Doesn't matter. If you're going to use online bidding, your real event is for a solid week. And as I've said before, I'll say again, I think it's very difficult for someone to tell you that they don't have a window of time to support your cause within a 7-day period, as opposed to if you tell them Saturday night, we're getting together in November, they may very well be booked and they have a conflict, and so they don't support your cause, right? So let's put up the general information. We're communicating, hey, here's why we're raising money. Here is when our event is. It's October 27th through November 3rd. It tells them when the bidding and donating and all that will take off. And that's fantastic. And then the next thing that we talk about is sometimes we like to show video or even photos from the previous year. Now I'm going to kick over to another event that I'm involved with that's coming up in September, and their website's already up. You can see they've got the general information already here, but I'm going to scroll down because here is an image carousel that is rotating through with photos from last year's event, right? So it's kind of fun for people who follow your event or play in your event on an annual basis to come and check out the photos. Maybe they tag somebody, maybe they share it on their social media, whatever. I think it's kind of fun. You also see that these folks are having a good time, right? Says something about your event, and that the people who participated in this event had a great time. So I always encourage you, if you got an opportunity to throw some photos or videos from the previous year, kick those onto that website also. And you can see here, I mean, we in essence, we do that with photos from this is Sherwood High School and their athletic booster club. And so they've got some pictures of the athletes, going here also. So that's fantastic. And then the next thing that you can do on a year-round basis, folks, is to solicit sponsors and auction package donors, right? I think so many times as a nonprofit, we get restrictive when we are soliciting donations from companies in the community, organizations in the community who could provide us with auction packages, or companies who might be interested in providing us with financial support in the term of a sponsorship, in essence, in exchange for some from promotion of their business in your event. And so, with that being said, I think that we want to make it easy for everybody to do both of those items. And if we have that availability on the event website, starting as soon as the old event's over, as soon as last year's over, within a couple of weeks, if as soon as we know our date, let's build that new site and get it up and running. And if for no reason other than to solicit sponsors and auction package donors, that would be fantastic. Now, Octria has a wonderful feature, has a couple of features, and I see it similar on other software programs. I'm just more intimate, as I've shared with what happens in Octria. But here's where I've showcased. I say showcase your company, and we talk a little bit about become a sponsor today. Let us showcase your company to our incredibly loyal audience. Da 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 da. And then we click on here, become a sponsor, and it immediately it takes us right to the sponsorships. Now, I would give you a little bit of a tip here. I'm going to go a little bit into this just because I like this one in particular. But when we only have a sponsorship that's going to one company, then we can. So the nice thing about Octria is when you're selling sponsorships, you put a quantity on it, and then it will tell you how many are left, or it will tell you, if they're unlimited, then it'll let you. I tend to put a quantity remaining, even if we could adjust that later. I tend to like to put a quantity remaining because I think it creates urgency, right? If someone comes to look at this and they say, hey, there's only 5 of these remaining, they don't know what the demand is for your sponsorships. They may very well think that 5 is a very small number. You and your committee might know it's a very big number, but it might be a small number to the person who's looking at it, and maybe it encourages them to buy it right away. But the whole sponsorships are all listed right here, and whenever a segment sells out, if it's just one company, put their logo there instead of whatever your icon was for the sponsorship, because now other companies will see maybe their competitors or companies that they admire in your community, and they'll say, well, if they're involved, I want to be involved. So I think it's a great way. Showcase your sponsorships. And the other nice thing about this, folks, and one of the things that I'm going to say this repeatedly, is that a lot of times I see in nonprofit organizations, we have a group of people that are helping us with our event. And whether we call it a committee or board members or anything like that. And we used to get really caught up in having a one sheet, maybe it was a PDF, maybe it was a flyer, maybe it was a brochure that explained how to get involved with the auction, whether you made a donation of an item for the auction or whether you bought a sponsorship. And I think that we would distribute, we'd go through a painstakingly long, it seemed like a long process to build that brochure or that flyer. And then it constantly changes, right? Or something's not available. You've got a sponsorship on there that's not available anymore because it's sold out, or whatever it is. And that's one of the beauties of using your website to do this, is that the flyer is never out of date. Okay. And second of all, your committee member doesn't have to be carrying that brochure or that flyer with them all the time. All they need to remember is the URL, right? And send it to them. Now, one of the things that you might consider, if you like to have them have something to pass out, maybe have some inexpensive business cards put together, right? And you can take the QR code or the URL, whichever works for you, for your auction website, and put that on your business card that you give to those committees, and give everybody on the committee 10 of these and say, hey, folks, go out, pass these out to people who you think could support our organization by either becoming a sponsor or by donating an auction package, right? And so, and then that way they don't have to they don't have to have that flyer with them all the time. Maybe they have a little stack of business cards. They keep them in their wallet, keep them in their purse, whatever. But they also always know the URL to the website. And I'm always going to encourage you folks, direct people to your organization's URL, your organization's website, but make it really obvious on that website how to get to your special fundraising event, right? Whether it's a pop-up box when you're really close to the event, or maybe it's really at the top header, or it's one of the showcased items. It comes in your carousel, whatever, in your header that says, support us through this cause, right? And then that way, your committee or your volunteers or someone who participated in your event last year and was telling a friend over coffee, hey, we had a great time at that event. What a great cause. Oh, and the person says, hey, I'd like to support that. How do I do it? Hey, go to their website. You'll see their event. You can get involved, right? Can't do that if it's not all up there and all in one place, right? The second component there that I talked about was donating to your auction. So I put a little simple paragraph here about how you could donate an item to the auction. And Octree has a really easy procurement form, solicitation form, that the donor can go in and they can complete this donation. And then you, as the organizer, get a simple email telling you that, hey, someone has donated an item to you. You can go in and approve it, or you can say thanks but no thanks, or whatever it is. But then it automatically builds the record into your items, into your auction. And it's just, I think it's an incredibly wonderful feature. So make sure, right, that you are soliciting sponsors and auction donation on that website on a year-round basis, right? You can start that as soon as the event's over for that next year. And at some point, you're going to have a deadline to when you want to collect auction items, or a deadline to showcase sponsors, as far as you need time to do what you're going to do for them, right? And so you can take those items off, right? When you have the flexibility on your auction website, like you do with Octria, you can go in and I can remove any of these items. I constantly am changing websites for our clients as we go through the journey of their event. It's not like you set the website once and you're done. I believe that you need to really, to have your website kind of follow the journey, if you will, of your event. I see we've got some more folks tuning in, and hey, I want to reach out and say hi. Tell us hi back, would you? Type in the comment box. Let us know who you are and where you're tuning in from today. Love to say hello. And also, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comment box. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have, right? So as we go about this process, let's look at our next area, and that is that I love to see us showcase our committed sponsors. I think it's hey, there's my buddy Tim Stewart is in the house as always. Tim, looking forward. We'll be working together this weekend at Central Catholic High, doing their event on Saturday night. It's going to be a lot of fun, and Tim's a great auctioneer and good friend, and does great work both in the real estate world and also in the benefit auction business. If you've got an auction question, Tim Stewart is a terrific resource. I'm always bouncing ideas off of old Tim, so he's great. And you're welcome, buddy. I learned a lot of it from you and your beautiful bride, Jill Marie Wiles. So anyhow, here we go. So one of the things I wanted to bring attention to is, as soon as you start having those sponsors, you want to give them some credit, right? You want to showcase your committed sponsors. And here's what we're doing right here. Now, here's a tip. Here's something I think is kind of a nice thing to do, is that when you're using your auction software to showcase your sponsors, you hopefully are motivating your next new sponsor, right? They see somebody's name, they say, hey, I'm like that company, or I should be advertising here too. I should be supporting. And I put a second become a sponsor now button right here, right? And it takes them to that same page I showed you a minute ago, right? So the concept here is that, yeah, I have become a sponsor here, but I also have it right down here because I think, maybe somebody kind of scans the page and then they see these companies and they see a company they recognize. And I wonder how I get my logo on their website. Well, here's the answer, buddy. It's right here, ready for you to do it. So be sure as soon as that company is supporting your cause, make sure you give them the love they deserve and get them on your website, right? And Octary makes this incredibly easy. It's actually kind of automated based on when you sell that sponsorship package and they upload their logo and boom, it once you put in this sponsor row here, it's right here. But always say thank you. Hey, thanks to our sponsors, that type of a deal. The next thing I'm going to tell you that you can have up there year round is a donation window, right? And here's a perfect example. Okay. It doesn't matter. I don't know a nonprofit yet who said, hey, somebody wanted to give us money and we chose not to take it because it wasn't in the right time of day or the right window of time. And so, as people read about your event or hear about your event, let them make a cash donation if they want. And it's as simple as this. Now you'll notice that I put in some preset amounts because I'm always trying to put thoughts in the minds of people. Is $1,000 a lot? I don't know. It is to some people, it's not to others, right? But you always notice that I start with the highest amount, right? I want them to have to work their way down. Okay. I think there's some logic behind if you said my first number was 25 and it scrolls all the way down to 1,000 versus starting at 1,000 and I go backwards to go down to 25. But then also let them make their own donation of any amount, whatever works for them. But I think it's, put some suggested levels here and have them make a donation, right? And then it's always kind of cool. It's easy to feature is to have your, social media icons here. This group has a Facebook page and then they're on the web. So you can go right to their event there. Now, the other thing that's nice here is when you click on any of these logos, it'll take you to that company's website. Now, I specifically set them up so that it opens another tab, right? So I don't want it to take them to I don't want it to take them from on our page and take them to another site. You can see right up here at the top, it opened another tab, so I can still get back to the event website very quickly, right? But I think that's a nice tool to help your sponsors and share with them. Hey, we plugged in your website. Somebody clicks on your logo on our website, it'll take them to your website, and they appreciate that, right? It's so much better than that donation. How do I say it? Not the donation, but the business card size ad in your catalog that you printed and handed out at the table at your gathering event. You tell me how many people actually made it to the website of those donors versus the person who's looking at your website at their own leisure and sees a company and wants to learn more, and they can click on it and they can see it, right? So don't be shy. Tell people, hey, we're providing a much better benefit than we used to. When we used to do our event in the ballroom, we can still do that catalog. We can still put your ad in there, but we're also adding you to our website. And when people click on your logo on our website, it takes them to your website where now they're in your showroom, if you will, right? So that's valuable. Everybody's interested in getting clicks, and that's one way to get a click. And so don't be shy. And the nice thing about it, it's so easy to do. So easy to do. So don't leave that out. The other thing that I wanted to touch base on is sell and raffle. Now every state law is different. Every organization, depending on where you live, raffle laws, rules are different. Okay. So make sure, disclaimer, hey, make sure it works in your market and with what you're doing and you're following all the rules and regs. But here, this group is selling an Amazon gift card. Now, this is something we've had a lot of success. We've done a lot of this over the last few years, last couple of years, especially during COVID. It's a generic prize. Nobody can say they don't use Amazon, right? I mean, maybe there's somebody, but for the most part, it is universally appealing to have a $500 credit at Amazon, right? So, that's the nice thing about doing something like this with your raffle, is that you have something that's universally appealing. If this was a piece of jewelry, not that I'm against jewelry, but it's a very personal taste. And so I wouldn't necessarily do that. The other thing is sometimes we'll use a trip. Okay. Well, trips can be, I don't want to say a negative, but they can narrow our market of appeal because someone thinks, hey, I've got to buy airline tickets to go there. I've got to take a week off of vacation. Amazon gift card, totally universal, as close to universal as we can get. The other nice thing here is that we only sell 100 of these tickets, right? So if we sell 100 of these at $25, that's $2,500. Cost us $500 to buy the ticket or to buy the gift card. So we're going to net $2,000. Now, I've also done this where we've sold the sponsor to this package, right, to the raffle. And so, thanks to our friends at XYZ Realtor, have provided us with a $500 gift card, and you could win it today by buying a raffle chance, right? But there's no reason that you can't sell these on a year-round basis, right? As long as you're following your state laws. The nice thing is if we sell out of this, what we'll do is we'll do a live stream to the organization's Facebook page, and we'll draw the winner live on air, and then we'll announce we're starting a new one, right? So sell as many of these as you want, knock yourself out, right? But it's a lot of fun and it's easy to do. So if you have a raffle, include it on that homepage. I don't understand why sometimes we restrict ourselves voluntarily, right? So this is the fun deal. Now, the other one I'm gonna share with you is, and I don't have it as a sample today because I know we took it down, but one of the fun things that we did was a classroom or a team donation program where this came from was that I was working with a school who in the past, pre-COVID, had traditionally had each classroom put together an auction package. And so the classroom parent would solicit all the other parents to either give them cash or would choose a theme, and they would all donate to this package. Maybe the third grade class was going to be a camping package. And so, one family brought in the tent, another one brought in sleeping bags, and somebody brought a cooler and, whatever it was, right? Now, when we went to COVID and the kids weren't coming to school, all of a sudden they were like, whoa, how are we going to do this, right? And so we came up with this cool concept for them. We called it a classroom donation. We said, what if we asked each parent to make a small donation, let's say $10 per student, and we take that money and we buy the package for that class, and then we sell it at auction. Okay. And, initially this school has about 300, I think it's about 300 students, maybe 250 students, a small charter school. And we asked for a suggested recommendation of $10. Now, when we did it, we also added not only a $10 button, right? But we also added a custom amount button. So if somebody wanted to give more or less, they could do that, right? So let's say it was 300 students. We were hoping, if we got $10 a piece, that's $3,000. We could go out and buy some stuff to put at auction, right? And our hope was to buy some things, whether it was underwrite a consignment trip, whether it was to go out and try to buy something that was hard to buy, Like one of the items that we ended up getting with some of the money was a PlayStation 5, which at the time was really hard to get. And one of the parents was willing, on the committee, was willing to work the system, if you will. And, anyhow, I don't know how they did it, but they bought it for $500. Well, we ended up selling that for $1,000. So it was a great deal. The moral of the story, though, the classroom donation deal was that we asked for $10. We had 300 students. We thought if we got anywhere from $2,500 to $3,000, we'd be doing great. We ended up with over $10,000, right? It was unbelievable and really made their auction special because we were able to underwrite some consignment trips that we ended up paying for with the sales. And that was, win, 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 win. We'd eliminated the risk and then we doubled the money. It was a lot of fun. So don't be afraid. And the way that we've done that in the past is that we'll set up a donation item per class and we'll have a page of classroom donations, and you click on the class and then you can make a donation to that class. You could have some fun competitions with it. So don't restrict yourself to just using your auction website when your online auction is open, is the bottom line, right? Start using it in a bigger window, more year round, where you can solicit sponsors, where you can solicit auction package donations. I think it's a real powerful tool when you send out that request letter or email, right? Now we do them on email, and you can direct people to your professional looking website and they can learn more about, they can see the other companies involved. They can see the other companies that have donated. They can see what your cause is all about. You can do all sorts of things to so much more enhance that experience for those potential supporters by sending them to your auction website, right? So feel free. If there's any questions, hey folks, if you have any questions, type them in. We're going to be wrapping up here pretty soon, but I want to let you know if there's any questions or anything that I've said today, feel free, fire it up, or just in general. Wanted to let you know, hey, the fundraising golf tournament business is coming really soon. And so another great way to use your auctions website and your auction software is to run your charity golf tournament through it, your fundraising golf tournament through it. In fact, our friends at Octria have asked me to do a webinar on how I use Octria and how to run a fundraising golf tournament. I'll be doing that event with them. We call it Fundraising Golf Tournament 101, but we'll be doing that on Wednesday, April 27th. So a week from today, 10 a.m. Pacific Daylight Time. That's right before we go on the air with our next episode of Fundraising BIDness Talk. So tune in. Next, you can go to octria.com, and I think you can sign up for that webinar and be happy. Would love to have you tune in and check us out. So, hey, folks, every Wednesday we're live right here. Fundraising BIDness Talk is live at noon Pacific Daylight Time. I want to thank our friends at Octria and our friends at StreamYard for providing this wonderful platform that we use to stream every week. Want to encourage you, if you've missed an episode, go to fundraisingbidnesstalk.com. You can catch all 55 episodes right there. And also, if you want to learn more about G Events, our company, my company, go to geventsllc.com. And if you'd like to visit, feel free to, there's a scheduling app on there from our friends at Calendly, and you can schedule a one-on-one free consultation. As they say, right? Nothing's free, but this one it is. There's no cost, is what I like to say. Just my time. And I would love to learn more about your event, answer any questions that you may have. So go to geventsllc.com and let's chat about your event and see if there's an opportunity for us to help you. So, folks, appreciate you tuning in today. Hope you have a terrific day. We'll see you next Wednesday. And remember, it's not where you start the bidding, it's where you finish. Have a great day, everybody.